In this video, I'm going to begin to show you how to solve for x. Now, when we're solving for x, the goal is to get x on one side all by itself, and everything else on the other side. We must not have any x's on the other side, though. So again, to get x by itself and everything but x on the other side. Now, there are multiple tools that we can use to do this, such as adding and subtracting, multiplying, dividing, and in the way that I'm going to show you how to use these, we can only use these in a certain way when they have, when you have an equality, which basically what that means is what it sounds like. You must have an equal sign to use these things in the way that I'm going to show you. So you can also use simplification like you always do in math, just holding to standard math rules. 2x plus x equals 3x. X squared plus x squared equals 2x squared. 5 plus 1 equals 6, you know, the usual stuff. But these are the main things you're going to use for your equalities. So when you have an equal sign. Now let me show you what I mean by that. So for adding and subtracting, what this is used to, it is for moving things from one side of the equal sign to the other. So remember, up here when I said the goal was to get x by itself and everything else on the other side. So this helps with that by moving things if we have something on the wrong side. So like I wrote here, y, to get all the x's to one side and everything else to the other side. So, for an example, right here we have x plus 5 equals 1. This is our problem that we're starting with. And we're supposed to solve for x. Now we want x to be on the side by itself. Therefore, this 5 that is on the same side as x is a problem. Now the way we get rid of that is by using the adding and subtracting tool. So in this case, we have a positive 5 here. So how do you get rid of a positive 5 or plus 5? You subtract 5. So when you do that, you have to subtract 5 from both sides of the equation. So you can see here I put subtract 5 on this side and subtract 5 on this side. Now we have to do it on both sides always. When we add or subtract something, we can add or subtract anything we want, like this 5. It just has to be from both sides, which keeps the problem essentially the same. It doesn't change the end result when you do it from both sides. So right here on this line, I just rewrote it. So x plus 5, that was our original piece. And then here's the minus 5 and the minus 5 that I added. Now that's okay that I subtracted 5 sporadically because I did it to both sides. Now you can see how that helps because now we have plus 5 minus 5. So these two just cancel each other out to 0. So then all we're left with is x on this side. And then on this side, 1 minus 5 is negative 4. So what we're left with is x equals negative 4. And like we said up here, the goal was to get x equals something, stuff, whatever. And that is what we have here, therefore, that is the answer. X equals negative 4. Now for a second example, this rule for adding and subtracting things to manipulate the problem to make it work does not only apply to numbers, it can apply to anything. So in this case, we had our original problem is 2x equals x plus 3. We're supposed to solve for x. So remember up here when we said we want stuff over here, but it's got to be everything but the x's. Therefore, down here, we have x on this side, which is good. However, we also have an x on this side, and we need them to both be on the same side. We cannot have x's in multiple places. Therefore, what I'm going to do is I want to move this one to the other side. And how am I going to do that? By subtracting. I have a positive x here, so if I subtract x, that'll cancel it out. So I rewrote that on this line. Remember, I subtracted x from both sides. As you can see here, now I have 2x minus x equals x plus 3 minus x. Now this x minus this x will equal 0x, which is the same thing as no x's at all. So we don't have to write that. So that got rid of the x on the right side of the equality, which is what we wanted because we only wanted x's on the left side. Actually, it doesn't really matter if it's on the left side or the right side, so long as they're on the same side. I just chose to move it to the left. So now what we have over here, we had 2x minus x. So clearly now we have 1x on this side, and then these two x's cancel each other out. It doesn't matter that they're not next to each other. They cancel each other out, x minus x, and now we're left with just the 3, the positive 3 here. So it's the same thing as writing x equals 3. Again, we have accomplished the goal because we have x on one side and not x on the other, anything but x on the other. So that is our answer, x equals 3. Then I will continue and show you how to use the multiplying and division tools in the next videos.